Hey guys! I know it's been a while since I did a book review, and I am so excited that I finally am able to do one. It's just that things have been going on. School just started last week for me, and it's like really hectic for me the first week, especially trying to get my book situation settled, trying to settle down a regular routine so that I can see where I can actually put time in to actually read. And it's just really crazy, and it really just took away from my ability to actually read. But finally I was able to get into the groove of reading, and I finished the book that I was trying to read, and I loved this book so much. So the book that I am reviewing is Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. So first let's talk about what it's about. That's kind of hard to do. So I guess I'm going to be really vague because it's hard to talk about it without spoiling or just getting a little bit too much to you. I don't like rambling on about what the book is about. I just like to get right into the review. So it's pretty much about 6 people and their stories and how they're all connected and interwoven into each of the other stories somehow. The major reason for why I loved this book was not the writing or the stories itself, but the way the author treated you as a reader. He didn't dumb it down for you. He didn't shout it out to you. He didn't give it to you on a silver platter. He treated you like you were smart, that you had that ability to actually get the answer for yourself. He believes that we are a smart people. He believes that if you are going to read this book, if you are reading this book, you have the ability to investigate, to become a detective on your own. That he doesn't have to give you the answers. So I really appreciated that, and it's such a refreshing feeling to have an author who isn't just giving it to you. The next thing that I love so much about this book, he subtly put in the connections. There were the sort of obvious ones where if you were paying attention you would notice it right off, and then there was that big connection that you would have to read the whole book to see. And I was just so fascinated in the way that he subtly did it. He just interwove it into the story so naturally, like it just was meant to be there, which of course it was. And it was just something that you helped along, you know, you weren't expecting to see it, you just weren't. And unless you were looking for it, I think that you would not have really paid much attention to it, because it was just part of the dialogue, it was just part of the narration, you know, whatever. It was just there. And I just loved how intricately put those connections were, to the point that like I said, you have to be paying attention. And the one thing that really stood out the most, other than those two, is the fact that he made each character so unique from the other. I think that's one thing that people miss when they're talking about this book or they're reading it, is that he did such an amazing job in making each person their own. They were unique. They had their own story. They had their own life. They had their own thoughts and beliefs. They were not the same. There were people that I liked. There were people that I didn't like. There were people that I sympathized with and empathized with and cared for. And I was rooting for some of them, and I was just going like, oh my gosh, you know, you can just go away, you know. But there was these people, you know, there was people there that you liked, you didn't dislike. And the other thing that was so fascinating about this book is that he put different genres in there. There was a futuristic feel, there were sci-fi, there was historical fiction in there. It was just so many. And with all that, he was able to move from one story to the next very smoothly. It was just wonderfully, wonderfully done. You didn't feel like there was a hitch in there. Now the stories themselves, were they well told? Were they boring? They were far from boring, I must say. I loved the fact that each story was completely different. Yet there was something in that story that had to do with the other stories. And you didn't feel like you were completely lost. Stories were just so amazing. I loved each one. The first one, Adam Ewing, I know a lot of people were just like, this story is so boring, but the fact is that he put something like that there because that was the way it was in that time. He had to start from the beginning, and he chose that spot. Yes, he could have chosen in the modern day, but present day, but you know, he chose not to. And I liked that he gave you a historical part. It felt more of a beginning than present time, and it was just, you know, you have to take it with a grain of salt. I think that yes, it's a bit slower to get through. Yes, he can be, the guy is so annoying. He was one of the characters I did not like very much, and all that, but overall, his story was fascinating. I thought it was very interesting, like, how people saw certain things in those days. I felt like he did an accurate portrayal of what a normal, average person saw things in that day. As I absolutely loved this book, and I gave it a star rating of 5. I loved that it gave me a challenge. And that is all I'm going to say today. Bye!